All right, let's do some numbers just to really wake up this morning. Okay, we'll do these Social Security numbers. 223.56. I'm not going to say point. 223, 56, 25, 85, 9, 56, 56, 25, 84, 211, 56, 59, 99, 895, 65, 24, 85, 415, 22, 46, 59, 285, 26, 33, 55, 989, 25, 64, 58, 986, 25, 37, 91, 475, 25, 51, 85, 892, 65, 34, 98, 326, 75, 29, 56, 856, 42, 75, 88, 369, 63, 75, 98, 247, 24, 55, 22, 898, 56, 24, 89, 455, 65, 65, 89, 582, 12, 25, 84, 195, 95, 46, 37, 396, 51, 28, 54, 369, 25, 14, 78, 212, 56, 22, 33, 645, 25, 98, 98, 456, 35, 26, 85, 953, 26, 65, 65, 665, 25, 32, 74, 357, 74, 75, 98, 678, 25, 63, 51, 559, 59, 63, 31, 5, 58, 55, 23, 12. I need to look something up really, really quick because it just dawned on me. All right, now we have some doublets. Here we go. Ocean view, ruptured appendix, abdominal cramp, helicopter attack, overhead expenses, joint resolution, aluminum can, plastic bag, law enforcement, brain damage, military intelligence, presiding judge, cathedral ceiling, urban blight, multiple choice, youthful appearance, office chair, interior decorator, home office, river bottom, soft pallet, optical instrument, brokerage firm, medical emergency, marijuana cigarette, lead investigator, transfer student, optical reader, third baseman, superhighway, kitchen table, probate department, energy boost, county jail, teddy bear, jealous boyfriend, concrete slab, piston rings, slalom course, hiatal hernia, sewing machine, weeping willow, general direction, transistor radio, pork tenderloin, funeral rite, coach seat, beauty contest, college diploma, sensational headlines, foreign relations, helpful hint, cooking oil, altered state, jagged scar, tornado warning, air turbulence, fundamental issue, shopping spree, airline restrictions, ancient carving, bank statement, military reconnaissance, autopsy report, repeat performance, rocky coast, rocking chair, present danger, apple juice, cortisone injection, heart valve, sugar cookies, lightning bolt, mirror image, fever convulsion, blood blister, cabin pressure, prison sentence, software program, high class, former lover, double bed, narcotics raid, educational research, window shade, pressure valve, snob, massive earthquake, quotation mark, actuarial table, water softener, room temperature, yellow rose, radar system, telescopic lens, winning season, tasty appetizer, summer evening, blistering heat, music publishing, irrigation ditch, dumbwaiter, stealth bomber, elevator operator, urban sprawl, allergic reaction, high fashion, ultraviolet light, renewable source, atmospheric disturbance, lone foreclosure, lost leader, party hat, hot flashes, artistic masterpiece, sustained relief, junkyard dog, heavenly aroma, connecting flight, urban development. We'll stop there. I love this one. I know Olivia likes this one too. The and one. Here we go. And dim and game and hole and rake and foil and foot and wool and read and raise and feet and run and view and hit and need and weak and vote and miss and cool and foul and mad and tough and hood and pair and tam and file and pour and view and gem and jibe and gill and deer and sea and cam and sit and bite and hole and burr and lime and rope and wipe and side and sight and bull and come and hide and fade and gear and jet and neat and food and give and hut and soar and wide and cat and dog and boar and night and hoot and tore and ripe and might and null and void and lake and pill and touch and bob and hate and love and gave and bull and hull and mike and jail and goad and cure and meek and nail and pop and got and sail and hope and bed and seep and fight and nip and gate and heel and wit and meal and slip and slide and slain and shake and shill and shore and blame and blue and blight and claim and clue and climb and choke and chain and chill and skate and scam and scour and spar and spire and spit and play and plead and plow and flip and fly and flew and spare and spear and spill and bride and broke and break and grade and group and grill and glean and globe and glade and quite and quit and queen and pray and pride and prude and step and stale and still and crowd and cry and crate and blue and gray and check and fry and play and swim and queen and blot and frail and fry and frill and frame and spill and scare and prod and glad and slam and try and creed and green and plain and sweep and swill and swell and drive and stoop and twin and brood and clip and flay and shed and chick and swill and trade and trite and treat and braid and shade and sleep and score and swum and chain and drill and brim and stale and creep and plot and glare and choke and shake and bleak and queer and pry and train and hole and quit and chap and trail and frail and pray and treat and glide and twin and spoil and glib and crane and stiff and sheep and chef and spare and grill and stop and shape and grope and trap and score and slime and drain and blare and grain and whiff and quite and blame and tweet and spoil and break and skate and twill and clap and fly and green and brave and flame. Okay. Okay, so I was thinking, what could we do today that would be a little different? So what we're gonna do is I just grabbed a stack of 225s. So instead of, normally we drill them and we do them backwards and up and down and different speed. So now we're just gonna do, whoa, darn it. We're gonna do just 225s. Just keep doing them. Okay, so you get one chance like it's your test. Okay, one swig of coffee. Okay. All right, first one. Oops. Can you see my light board? Yep, okay.
Yes.
Here we go. So you heard him increase his speed, but then you have also told us that he had to decrease his speed over the speed bump. Did you also see him decrease his speed then? No, I said he had to turn into the parking lot. He didn't swing wide like some people come in there and swing their motorcycles around, and others come in and turn tight and come right back. Is it your testimony that Mr. Caswell was not living with you at the time of the accident? Yes, that I can recall. He was living with Dorothy. Was it common for him to come by and pick you up? It's common for him to drop by now and then. He's like a brother. He's lived with us off and on. And was it his usual practice to take you to school in the morning? No. Now, when you observed Jim's car, and I direct your attention to the point in time when your brother said, look over there, and then you looked up. Now, did you look to the motorcycle first, or did you look to Mr. Caswell's car? As I recall, I glanced over to the car first. And did you see Jim Caswell at that time? Yes. And was he motioning? Do you recall? I can't recall if he was or if he wasn't. Now, approximately how far from your position in car lengths, if it's easier for you, was Jim's vehicle when you looked up and saw it? About 5 or so car lengths. And how far was the motorcycle when you observed it at this time? I didn't observe the motorcycle until it hit the driveway, right when it was coming into the driveway. And so I don't really recall seeing him and the motorcycle at the same time. Do you know of any speed limit signs in the parking area there? I don't really look for speed limit signs along there. Every school, it says 25 miles an hour while school is in session. You don't know of anything in the parking lot area? No. Now, when you looked up and you saw Jim's vehicle after your brother said, look over there, how fast was Jim moving? As I recall, he was just stopped. He was stopped at that point in time. Yes. And that was even prior to seeing the motorcycle. Yes. Was that also prior to the motorcycle entering the driveway? As I recall, the motorcycle didn't come until about a couple of minutes after the time he was stopped. I think he was waiting for my friend Randy. I think Randy was going to get a ride home with him or something because the principal kicked him off the school grounds or something. Where was Randy at the time of the accident? As I recall, he was over to the right along where the cars are parked like this. He was over there where the street parking is. Yes, right along the fence. Did you see him or hear him yell to Jim to stop? No. Did your brother John ever tell you what he wanted you to look at when he said, look over there? No. Were there a lot of people in the area at this time? No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't. No, I think the bell had just rang. So then you were late for class. Yes. Can you estimate approximately how many people were in the area? I'd say 10 to 15 people were gathered around. This is prior to the accident. This is after the accident. People that gathered around, there was about 15 people out there, I would say, around and throughout the area prior to the accident. Yes, that's from when he pulled up. At the time of the accident, did you notice anybody else in close proximity to you or to the vehicles involved? Yes. Do you know their names? Bob Jones. Do you have an address for him? No. Did you notice anybody else? Not that I can recall. Did you notice any girls in the area? No. Now, did you actually see the motorcycle strike the automobile? Yes. Where was the first point of contact that you saw? The left front fender and the bumper, the front part? Yes. Did you notice Jim do anything to avoid the accident? Did he honk or did he swerve? I don't recall. Now, at the time you had the motorcycle in view as it went over the speed bump, could you see what Mr. Butler was doing? No, sir. Could you tell whether or not he was looking forward at you? No, I really can't. I didn't think nothing coming out. I didn't pay any attention. Did it appear to you that Mr. Caswell lost control of the motorcycle as soon as he went over the speed bump? Mr. Caswell was in the car. I'm sorry, I mean Mr. Butler, excuse me. Well, he didn't appear to me that he lost control. I don't know if he did. Then that would be the reason for the accident. But you don't know whether I think he just didn't see the car. What do you base that upon? Because he didn't seem to wobble to me anyway, to where it was out of control. Okay, and then the car was out of stop and he then went straight. There was plenty of room to the left and right of the car to go around either way. And you could see Mr. Butler's head looking in the direction of the vehicle. No, I couldn't. I can't recall even seeing his face. The only part I recall seeing about his head was when the helmet fell off. To the best of your recollection, when he went over the speed bump, both of his wheels were on the ground at one point in time. Yes. And he came down and he didn't lose control of the motorcycle at all. He didn't seem to wobble or nothing out of control. and he proceeded directly into Mr. Caswell's vehicle. Yes. Did you notice any skid marks or anything like that at the scene? No, I didn't. Let me ask you to take a look at this photograph. Does that show the area where the accident happened? Yes. Okay. I'm just going to point out something here based on what you say. I assume that the car was somewhere around in here, right? And the motorcycle came in this direction. Yes. And there is the speed bump. Yes, sir. And the accident happened in there somewhere. Yes. You will see in the back of the picture, it looks like some people out on the lawn. Yes. And it looks like a concrete curbing there. Yes, there is a sidewalk right there too. This would be the east side of the parking lot area or the driveway. Wouldn't that be the east side? In other words, this camera was looking towards the mountains. Is that correct? The mountains would be other that way. Okay, well, anyway, what I'm pointing out over here, I want to know whether there were any cars parked along that area at the time of the accident. I don't recall any cars being parked there. The cars that you are referring to may have been parked to the left. Yes. So, you always have to trust your notes because honestly, the answer really was the mountains would be other that way. Sometimes we misspeak, and so he did. And when I'm reading at 2:25, I misspeak sometimes. Okay, next one. Here we go. Ready? Begin. Okay, so the Explorer continued to flash its lights while you were on the interstate. That's correct. And then I guess the Explorer kept flashing the lights when you got on Washington School Road. Yes, sir. Well, finally, when you were on Washington School Road, did you decide to pull over? That's correct, sir. So you are telling us that you pulled over onto Washington School Road? No, we turned off on a connecting street. What connecting street? I don't remember the name of it. It's out there in the community. You resided out there for about 2 years, yes, but it didn't go all through the neighborhood. Wasn't it Taylor you turned on to? No, it wasn't. Was it the street before Taylor? No, it wasn't. Was it the street before Taylor? It was 2 streets before Taylor. That is just a neighborhood right there, right? Yes, that's right. And that's just houses, one right next to another, all through the neighborhood. Yes, that's correct. And there are streetlights on the corner in that neighborhood, aren't there? Correct. Well, where did you say you pulled over? I don't remember the name of the street. It was 2 blocks from Taylor. Approximately how far off Washington Road was that? About midway, half a block maybe? You just kind of turned around the corner to exit off Washington School Road and turned the corner. Is that how it happened? That's correct, sir. Did the Explorer pull in directly behind your automobile? No, we pulled on the opposite side of the street. The opposite side of the street, correct. We stopped on the right shoulder and he stopped on the left. That's where you say that Mr. Montgomery approached you with the silver handgun. Is that correct? That is correct, sir. And then he ordered everyone, the two of you, out of the automobile. That's correct. You then went back and both of you put your hands on the automobile. Is that what you're implying? That's correct. Both you put your hands on the automobile. That's correct, sir. And you were standing there side by side. Is that the story you're telling us? Correct. And I have forgotten whether or not there was on the Cadillac. That's right, sir. Okay, the photograph that the state has put into evidence as state's exhibit number 3, that's the trunk of the Cadillac we're talking about, right? Yes, that is right. Okay. These black markings weren't on that automobile on that evening, were they? Absolutely not, sir. But that is the trunk lid, the truck deck that you and Michael Marks had your hands on. That's correct, sir. Okay, now describe for everybody your lying position. Was it exactly like that, sir? Correct, with both hands. That's correct. Okay, it's at this time that you told the jury this morning that Mr. Montgomery was searching all around in the car. Is that correct? Yes. And did you and Michael Marks stay back there behind the automobile the whole time? We certainly did. And he had his gun out this entire time, correct? Is the information you're giving correct? Yes, it is. Okay, did you testify today that you and Michael Marks told somebody that you were not into drugs and you didn't smoke marijuana, correct? When you told the jury this morning, we're not into that, is that what you really meant? That's absolutely correct, yes, sir. Okay, did you testify this morning that while you were out there the first time when you were stopped, that Mr. Montgomery opened the trunk of the automobile or not? I surely did. Now, you said that Mr. Montgomery looked around in the trunk while he was out there. You later decided to pull over on Washington School Road. That's correct, sir. By the way, Washington School Road is a main highway for all the traffic to get back into those neighborhoods south of the loop. Is that correct? Correct. It's a pretty well-traveled road. Is that correct? correct. In fact, it's not unusual to see heavy traffic on that road any time of day, is it? It's not unusual. Okay. When you arrived at the house there from the location where you say you pulled over to the location where you and Michael Marks were living with Lee Jackson. What was the distance? Approximately 3 or 4 blocks from there. Is not very far at all, is it? No, sir. And you said that you went into the house, yes, with Mr. Montgomery, yes. And are you saying that Mr. Montgomery had his revolver exposed then too? That's correct. So he pulled his Explorer up right next to your house, correct? Okay. The house you were living in anyway, yes. Have you seen some other photographs that he took of the Cadillac in the garage of the residence? No, you haven't, sir. At any rate, this driveway to the residence you were staying in is not very roomy, is it, sir? It's not roomy. As a matter of fact, when that automobile is pulled into there completely, it extends out over the sidewalk slightly. No, sir, it doesn't. And there is a drop off that goes into the driveway, into the garage. Okay. But it comes out pretty even with the sidewalk. Would that be right? Yes. Okay. You'll need to speak loudly enough for everyone to hear. Okay. Maybe 2 or 3 feet from the sidewalk. Is there actually a garage there that would accommodate the car, or is that garage pretty small? Actually, it's a 2-car garage. Okay. The door doesn't stay open all the time. No, it doesn't. And that night the door wasn't open. It wasn't open, and you didn't pull into the garage and stop in there. Yes, we did. Well, I guess Michael was still driving. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. How was that one? Good. Okay. Okay, next one. State your full name, please. Michael James Walsh. What's your date of birth? July 16, 1977. Are you a student? Yes. Where? Laverne High School. What city is that in? Laverne. How long have you been attending that high school? 1 year. Have you ever had your deposition taken before? No. You seem like you have. No. You're doing a good job. Please continue to do what you're doing. Answer the questions out loud in words. Also, continue to wait until the question is done before you begin your answer. The court reporter gave you an oath, and that oath is the same oath that you would get if you testified in court in front of a judge and jury, and you're obliged to tell the truth just as if you were in court. Do you understand that? Yes. The court reporter takes down everything that's said word for word. We want to get an accurate record of what's said. So if you fail to answer out loud in words, I will ask for a word answer. So if you nod your head rather than saying yes, or if you shake your head rather than saying no, I'll say, is that a yes or is that a no? I'm telling you just so you understand why we'll be doing that. If any of the questions are unclear to you, please indicate you don't understand the question and I'll rephrase it for you. All right. All right. Please provide your best testimony. Your testimony here today can be read to a judge or jury or arbitrator under certain circumstances, and it could affect the outcome of the case. So try to be as accurate as you can. What's your current residence address? 26656 Wrightwood, California. How long have you lived at that address? 13 years. And the name of the street is Swallow Hill Drive. Yes. What are your parents' names? Douglas and Kathy Wall. Have both of them always lived with you there at that address since you've lived at that address? Yes. Do you have brothers and sisters? No. At any time between January 1st, 2003 and the present, has anybody lived at that home with you other than your parents and yourself? I don't understand. What do you mean as what? How much time? Anything over a single overnight visit? Yes. Who has lived there with you? Michael Shaw. Anyone else? Jesse Ward. Anyone else? Brett Graves. Could you spell Brett's last name, please? No. Could you say it slowly? Graves. Anyone else? No. When did Michael Shaw live with you? I'm not sure. Do you have any estimate as to when it was? It was my junior year of high school. Are you currently a senior? No. What are you now? I'm a junior. It was my sophomore year in high school. I'm a junior now. Sorry. Did he live with you during a portion of the fall of your sophomore year? Yes. How long did he live with you? For roughly 4 weeks. Where did you attend school your sophomore year? Excuse me. Where did you attend school your sophomore year? Serrano High School. Where's that? California. Why was it that Michael Shaw lived with you? His mother was away in Hawaii on business. When did Jesse Ward live with you? Just sporadically. Sporadically over what time period? Like spending the night over weekends to play cards or games or whatever. And how about Brett Graves? When did Brett live with you? The same as Jesse, or those are just friends that have spent the night with me. See, did you have a dog as of October 2003? Yes. How many? One. What was the dog's name? Max. You know, when your family first got that dog. No. Do you have any estimate as to when you first got the dog? We've had him for about 8 years. Did you get the dog as a puppy? Yes. Do you know if the dog is male or female? Male. Have you had any other dogs in your household that during that time period? No. Was the dog your dog or just generally the family dog? My dog. Did you train the dog? Yes. Did anyone else in your family assist in training the dog? Yes. Who? My parents. Has that dog, to your knowledge, ever bitten a human being? No. To your knowledge, before strike that, do you recall an incident occurring where Michael Shaw was bitten by a dog? Yes. Do you recall the date of that? No. Does October 6th of 2003 sound correct? I don't know. Before the date that Michael Shaw was bitten, do you know if Max had ever bitten any dog? No, Max has never bitten another dog. Before October 6th of 2003, do you know if Max had ever been bitten by another dog? No, Max has never been bitten by another dog. To your knowledge, before October 6th, 2003, has Max ever been in a fight with any other dog? No. Max has never been in a fight with another dog, so he's basically a good dog. Yes. Do you know somebody named Plumber? Yes. How many members of the Plumber family do you know? 9. Did all those people live at the same place? Yes. Where did they live? They live next door to me. Do they all still live there? No. Do any of them still live there? No. When did they move? I don't know. Did they move after this October 6th, 03 incident? Yes. Do you have any estimate as to how long after that incident they moved? 3 months, maybe. Has anybody ever told you why they moved? No. Has anybody ever told you where they moved to? No. Do you have any idea where they are now in Wrightwood? Can you describe the houses that you currently live in terms of size of the house, number of rooms? It has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 kitchen, 1 laundry room, a loft, and a living quarter area. Do you know which direction Swallow Hill Drive runs in directly in front of your house? Wait, yes. Which direction? West to east. If you look out your front door toward the street, which direction would you be looking in? North. Do you have a garage at the house? No. A carport, yes. Where was the plumber's house in relation to yours as far as compass directions go? It would be to the west of my house, and it's the property immediately adjacent to yours on the west. No, there's 1 lot in between. It's a vacant lot. Yes. Was any portion of your yard fenced as of October of 2003? No. Was any portion of the plumber's yard fenced as of October of 2003? Yes. Can you describe the portion of the plumber's yard that was fenced as of that time? Their backyard. Did the Plummer family have a dog as of October of 03? Yes. How many? 1. Do you know that dog's name? Getting better? Sure. Here's one suggestion I heard once is try to make everything in your life be like 225. In other words, fix the lyrics on the music you're listening to and make it go really fast, or listen to rap that's really fast. Because if you start thinking about like people who talk really fast, and then you start to like kind of get used to hearing that, right? Then it just starts to sound normal and you're grasping more of it. So I thought, oh, that's good advice. Just a thought. Okay, here we go. This one's going to start with the court. Thank you. Please be seated. Please state your full name, spelling your last name for the record. Tony Robert. Oh, wow. Normally we don't have 4 voice in this, but we'll do it again. Here we go. Thank you. Please be seated. Please state your full name, spelling your last name for the record. Tony Robert Diego. Spell your last name, please. Diego, Diego. Go ahead, counsel. Thank you. On December 6, 2018, were you working? Yes. And where was that? At 24-Hour Fitness. And what time did your work day end? It was from 9 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. And did you have any plans for after work? No, just to go home and get rest. Weren't you going to have friends over for a barbecue on December 6th? Oh, I didn't understand you. Okay, on December 6th, yes. And what was the plan? Originally, me and my ex-wife, we just bought recently. Me and my ex-wife, we just bought a property with a mobile home on it. So we had it for about 20 days already, and and I asked her, if we could have something, a little small celebration for buying the house, and we invited friends over. And who did you invite? I invited Sarah, Dan, Jesse, Boyd, and Fred. And how were they to get there? How would they get there? Yeah, driving. Did you drive any of them? No. Did they follow you? Dan and Sarah followed me. Yes, they did. And what time did you arrive home? We arrived about 9. What I can remember is about 9:20. I can't really remember the time frame, but it was like 9:20 or 9:30. Was Jennifer with you? No, she was at home. Did you arrive before Sarah and Dan? No, they were just right behind me. And just what did you do when you got there? Okay, we had some wine. Dan brought some tequila. So we stopped at the store and we got out and put the stuff in the house. And then me and Dan grabbed the beer and we went outside. I went and I showed the property to him that we just bought, me and my ex-wife. Did you consider yourself a good friend to Dan? Yes. How long have you known him? About 8 months. Did you ever invite him to your house prior to this incident? I did invite him one time where Michael Brown, Jennifer's husband now, he was having a party and they also invited us. So I also asked him if I told him that they were having a party at work. I was staying at the time with my ex-father-in-law and I asked him and he came over at that time. Yes. Did you ever go to his house? Yes, twice, I believe, a couple times. Do you recall ever going to his house where he had other friends present? Yes. And when was that? It was like 20 days before the incident. And what did you do at his house? I just went there to visit him. He had friends. And actually, I was at work. And on a weekend, I worked there for a couple hours. And after I finished, I called his house and he asked me if I wanted to come over, that he had friends and they were just, how can I say, they were just there. How many friends were over there? There were Jesse, there was another gentleman in there that I can't remember his name, but there was Jesse and this other and Danny. What did you do there? They were talking, they were calling on the phone and I just sat there and watched TV. Did you happen to watch a videotape? Yes, he showed me a videotape. Yes or no? Oh, yes, thank you. Was he showing this tape to his friends? Which tape are you on? The videotape, this one, it was a videotape where Your Honor, I'm going to object non-responsive. This show, did you see a videotape? Yes or no? Yes. And what type of videotape was it? I watched the one show where they spin a number or something like that. Can you guys remind me? It's where they win money. That's what that's called. Is that the only videotape that you saw? No. What other videotape did you see? I saw another videotape where he was boxing. Did you see the beginning of that tape? No. How much of the tape did you see? I saw about 5 or 6 minutes of it. Were other people watching the tape? Yes. Were they laughing? No. Did Dan say anything afterwards with respect to the videotape? Yeah, he was saying that he was just felt good that this guy was bigger than him and he was smaller than him, that he, was able to beat him. From what you saw, was his description correct? What was that? In other words, was it a bigger man that he was fighting? Yes. Did you believe that he was winning? Yes. Did you ever bring up his boxing after that incident? Did I ever? Did you ever discuss it with him? I think we did a couple times. Yeah, we did a couple times. Were you impressed by it? How good he was? Yes. When did you have dinner? Do you remember the time on December 6th, about 9? I can't really remember, about 9:30. Did you start drinking them? No, we were drinking earlier than before we had dinner. And what were you drinking? We were drinking beer. And do you recall how many beers you had before dinner? About 5. Did you drink beer with dinner? I don't believe so. No. Did you drink any alcoholic beverage with your dinner? No, I was just eating my meal. We were just eating. During the course of eating your meal, did you have any problems with Jennifer during the meal? Yeah, no. Did you have any problems with Dan? No. What about with Sarah? No. And were they the only people that ate dinner other than yourself? All 4 of us, my ex-wife, we all sat down and ate dinner. And when did Fred come into the picture? He called after we ate dinner. And so I asked him if he still wanted to come. And he said yes. So I told him that I was going to go meet him at the end of the street. So me and Dan left, both of us, to meet him at the end of the street. Did you drive? Yes, I drove. And you drove? Yes. What time was that? What time? When we went to pick him up? Yeah. Probably 10:30. It was after dinner. How much? Strike that. You had the 5 beers, correct? What is it? You had 5 beers, correct? 5 beers approximately. Did you drink anything else before driving to pick up Fred? I think we had a beer, each one of us. So then you had between 5 and 6 beers. Yes. When Fred initially got to your house, did you drink any more? Yes, we did. And what were you doing? What were we doing with Fred now in your house? What did the 5 of you do? We picked up Fred and he came in the house. And then we asked him if he wanted anything to drink, We had 5 different kinds of alcohol, and I asked him if he would like to drink any of it or a glass of water, and he chose to not at first. And then he sat down and ate dinner. My ex-wife fixed him some dinner, and he ate. And after that, we had, Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point. Narrative sustained. Do you recall playing cards with any of your guests that evening? I never did. What did you do? I was just drinking. Were you talking with your friends? Yes, I was talking to Fred. Yes. And what about Dan? He was at the table with Dan, Sarah, and Jennifer. And what were they doing? They were drinking. Is that all? They were just having a good time. They were just laughing. So you were not at that table. You were off with Fred. Yeah. I was on the corner right there with Fred. When did you go down to the table when I sat down? Yes. I can't remember. Did you play any cards at the table? No. Were Sarah, Dan, and Jennifer playing cards when you went to sit down? They can't remember. I don't remember. How were you feeling at that point? When I was standing, me and Fred, I told Jennifer at that time when I was standing with Fred, I told her, to take it easy with the beverages because the next day we were going to go to a wedding. And she was just like, she was going off with Dan at that moment. What you mean by she was going off with Dan? I felt like she was flirting with him. Did you say anything to her? I just told her to calm down and I didn't like what she was doing. And did Jennifer say anything to you? She's like, okay. And what about Dan? He was at the table also there. But did he say anything? No, he didn't say anything. Did he hear it to your knowledge? To my knowledge, I don't think so. So basically, you were just talking to Jennifer. Yeah, it was just a couple words. I just told her, Jennifer, I don't like what you're doing. Did she continue this behavior? Yes, she did. And what did you do? I don't remember. Well, do you remember kicking her? Yes, I do. How did you feel when you kicked her? I just got, well, the way she was flirting with Dan was bad. I told her to knock it off. I told her, Jennifer, knock it off. So I kicked her like that on her leg. It was just to get her attention. Now, is it my understanding that you just wanted to get her attention? Yes. Now, what did you feel? Did you feel dizzy? How were you feeling? Do you remember? I felt a little bit dizzy. And how about alcohol? Did you consume at that point? I'm sorry, I didn't hear his answer. A little bit dizzy. Okay, thank you, Your Honor. It was like 6 beers. Did you have any tequila shots? We did. Was that before you kicked her or after we were drinking tequila? Objection, Your Honor. No question pending. There's no question pending. We were drinking tequila. There is no question pending. Sorry. Did you drink any tequila prior to kicking Jennifer? I don't remember. Did you drink any tequila after you kicked Jennifer? No, we were drinking tequila when I kicked Jennifer, when I kicked her. What did Jennifer do after you kicked her? What I can remember, I think she went inside the room in the bedroom. And did Dan say anything to you? I don't remember him saying anything to me. How did you feel about Dan at that point? Nothing. You felt that you were still friends? Yeah. Do you remember getting into the bedroom with Jennifer? Do I remember? Yeah, I remember now. Do you remember going into the bedroom with Jennifer to talk to her about after you kicked her? No. Do you recall being in the bedroom? Yes. And did you get into an argument? What I can remember? Yes. Do you remember hitting her? No. But you don't deny it. I don't remember hitting her in her eye. What do you remember? I just remember I grabbed her by the hair. No. Do you remember pulling her hair? No. Are you denying that you pulled her hair? No, I'm not denying. I just can't remember pulling her hair. I'm not denying if I pulled her hair. Do you feel that you were pretty drunk at that point? Yes, I was drunk. We're going to take a break for lunch at this point. You can step down, Mr. Diego. Go back to your seat. The jury is excused for lunch. All the same admonitions remain in effect. We'll see you back at 1:30. Thank you, and I'll see counsel briefly. Thank you, counsel. Back on the record in People versus Diego. All parties, all jurors are present. Mr. Diego is back on the stand. You remain under the same oath you took previously, Mr. Diego. You may continue, counsel. Thank you, Your Honor. When Jennifer left the bedroom, what did you do? I stayed in the bedroom, and then what happened? Dan came in, and did you have an argument with him? No, I didn't have an argument with him. He came in mad, and what did he tell you? Do you remember that he didn't like what was going on, and what did you say? And I told him that I was talking to Jennifer. Do you know how long in the bedroom you were with Dan? It was a couple seconds. It wasn't very long. And then what happened? I don't remember at that point. Do you remember going into the living room? I remember being in the living room, but not going into the living room. While you were in the living room, was your back towards the bedroom? Yes. And where was Dan? We were right there. Dan was in front of me and Sarah was behind him. Do you remember what Dan told you? Oh, and we're ending on that note, apparently. Okay. Have a fabulous day.
Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. BB, wake up, dear. Do you want to go in the lab? Okay.